Hello, welcome to Vidtech, Dylan here, and today we are going to do a review on Windows 98. Alright, in order to assess how good Windows 98 is today in 2020, I am going to be using 10 categories to give it an overall score out of 10. 10 categories are Internet, which is to see how fast it is and how many websites you can do. Streaming videos, which is to see if video services like YouTube and Twitch will work. Modern software, which is to see if the latest versions of softwares can run well. Media, which is to see what types of music files and video files it can play. Business use, which is to see if you could use Windows 98 in a business today. Security, which is to see if it's still secure. Features, which goes over like the default features that come with 98. Usability, which is how easy is it to use? Is it user friendly? Memory, which is basically me judging how the maximum RAM that Windows 98 can use. And stability, which is to see, does it crash? And so as you guys can see here, this is the computer. Now this computer is some kind of Quantex. I don't know what kind exactly it is, but I do know that it has a Pentium 2 and 128 megabytes of RAM, and the hard drive's 13 gigabytes, which for Windows 98, that's huge. And I'm just using this flat screen Dell monitor here because it's the only monitor that I really have for old computers like this. And as you can see, we got a little Microsoft keyboard, a slightly newer mouse, and speakers. So yeah, let's get started. Alright guys, so here's the beginning of our review on Windows 98. As you can see, I got a screen capture software called Quick Screen Recorder. So my first category is gonna be Internet and how well you can use it. So I did install this extension called KernelEx on here, which allows you to run more modern softwares for Windows 2000 and XP on Windows 98. And that's how I got SeaMonkey, Opera, this browser called Qt Web, etc. But Netscape is probably the best browser, honestly, and doesn't need any KernelEx. So this is probably our best browser, surprisingly. We'll see how this works. And guys, it is ridiculously slow. It timed out, which is not often actually, so this time it should load. But will it though? I don't know. And what do you know? It loaded. Wow. So let's type something like let's type in NBA because I do love basketball. Let's see how long. That didn't take long at all. As y'all can see. Yeah, I do miss the NBA, by the way. I miss sports in general. And yeah, Google does its thing. Well, images doesn't even show here. Let's search something else then. How about I'll search up Lamborghinis just to get it. And as you all can see, I'm very good at typing. Let's see if... Yeah, y'all can see, guys. Yeah, there's the images. They render pretty well, but they're not as high quality as you would think. That I will say. Let me click on an image. This image is taking a while to load, I will say. You know what? Let's see if we can go to other websites. It says Gmail, which I guess we can all agree is a very important website for, like, well, everything. And it didn't even load Gmail. Well, I mean, the problem is that it's trying to load it to, like, the part where you can log into Google, which does not work. Which is really bad because, you know, Gmail it's Gmail. I'd say the majority of y'all, of people use Gmail for their email, myself included, so that's unfortunate. Well, here's the biggest test. Will YouTube load on here? I will see y'all when it finally does, if it does. And what do you know? It took exactly 2 minutes to load, which I thought it was going to take more time than that, honestly. And we get this page. Netscape is an old browser. It's still the best for 98, surprisingly. Let's see what happens when we click Remind Me Later. I highly doubt we'll be able to watch videos. I mean, you see YouTube, the page loads. Or will it? Yeah, we'll stop supporting this browser soon. Probably already have stopped supporting it. Alright, this is taking forever to render. Let's watch. Alright, so the video I'm gonna try to load is. Let's load Pat McAfee's thoughts on why the Packers drafted Jordan Love. Because Pat McAfee's hilarious, you know. If y'all don't know who he used to play in the NFL. He is one funny guy. I don't think it'll load. But, let's see. To those of you who have to use Windows 98 today, which I hope that's none of y'all, I feel so bad for you. But yeah, I hopefully that's none of y'all. And, oh, it's number 22 on trending. I did not know that. Well, guys, I don't think this video is gonna play because the HTML5 for, I don't even know if HTML5 was made when this browser was around. I don't know if it works. I don't think YouTube works. I mean, I guess I could, I've tried it with Opera, but it wouldn't load. So, unfortunately, guys, you can't watch YouTube on Windows 98, which is unfortunate, because, everyone wants, a lot of y'all, if you're watching this, then you probably are, then you're watching YouTube. Alright. That's that. And also keep in mind, guys, these browsers are not modern. They're kind of old by this point. Like, I'd say like around 7, 8 years old. Netscape is older than that, and yet it's still better than Firefox and Opera in terms of speed. And then that one, Netscape is the only one that loads YouTube, surprisingly. So yeah, that's that. And as for media, we've got Windows Media Player here. Not much to explain here. It's Windows Media Player. Now, the biggest problem I have with Media Player is that it does not play MP4 files. Yes, I'm talking about this version. And I think we can all agree that MP4 is the most common type of video file. But it does play a lot of other stuff, like MP3, which is music files. I'm sure y'all use MP3s every now and then. And it also plays AVI and WMV, which are both video formats. And there's nothing much to display here. If I don't have any audio files, but it'll play audio files, guys. We got VLC Media Player, which this is, unfortunately, this processor is pretty old, so it lacks an certain instruction that you need for a newer version. I could use a newer version, but you can thank the processor for the old version. The good thing about VLC is it plays MP4 files. I don't really have any I don't have any MP4 files on here to show y'all. If I did, I'd use them, but unfortunately, I do not. See, VLC is taking forever to load. Oh, there it is. Yeah, you see, it's just VLC. That's for business use. We've got Microsoft Office. Yeah, you see, we got Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint. That's 97, I think. And we got Microsoft Word. Let's check this out. This is Office. This is all from Office 2000, except PowerPoint, by the way. And yeah, we can see Microsoft Word. It's not terribly different from Word Today, in my opinion. I mean, sure, like, there's Word Today is much better, but it's still Microsoft Word. And yes, I am using Comic Sans. Don't judge me. And let's see if we can save files. Test. I'm just going to call it test because, nothing to it. And Excel and PowerPoint are pretty much the same, are very similar. It's still Office, it's just not as good as today. And the biggest problem is Outlook, which y'all can see right there. The problem with the old version of Outlook is you cannot link a modern email to it. I mean, I know you can't do it with Gmail because I've tried it, and did it go well? Nope. I mean, it would acknowledge that there's a Gmail account, but it would not send anything. Also, this Outlook, Outlook 2000 is not secure. So, basically viruses can get through it onto your computer, and that's not good. You don't want viruses on Windows 98, considering there's no true antivirus for it today. And one more thing about Windows 98, that I can't show y'all this, but I can only tell y'all that you cannot use flash drives on here. I mean, at least not for this version. You see, there's Windows 98 Second Edition, which is an upgrade from First Edition, which is what this computer runs. Now, Second Edition, you can use flash drives, but not First Edition, which is, again, what this computer runs. And I think that's going to be it for this review on Windows 98. At least for the computer, for displaying its capabilities. So now I've given each category a rating out of 10, and I'm going to start off with internet. Most websites will not load. I mean, Google loads, but other than that, you're going to have a hard time loading most websites, so that's a 1 out of 10. Streaming videos, YouTube doesn't even work. Automatic 1 out of 10. Now, modern software, you can use KernelEx to run some XP programs, but you can't run the latest versions of them, and that's a problem. You can only run, 6-year-old versions of those softwares, so that's a 2 out of 10. And then media. I mean, Windows Media Player, it can play a lot of different types of media, but it can't play MP4. But with KernelEx, you can get the latest version of VLC, but your processor has to have SSE2, which that computer doesn't have. So I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. And then business use. You can use up to Office XP on the Windows 98. I use 2000, but you can still use XP. I mean, sure, Microsoft Office is still Office, even if it's older. You can do the same stuff, with the exception being Outlook. So I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. And then security. Windows 98 support ended in 2006, I believe. So that means there's no more security updates for it. And also, there's not really an antivirus for Windows 98 that's, reliable. So that's going to be a 2 out of 10. And then features. Windows 98 by default came with, most notably, with Internet Explorer and Windows Media Player, which Internet Explorer is unusable today. And then Media Player, like I mentioned earlier, you can play most media types, but the biggest problem is MP4 files. And there's also other stuff that came, Solitaire, but, well, I mean, other than playing it, what can you really do with Solitaire, So that's a 3 out of 10 for me. And then usability. Windows 98 was very easy for me to use. I had no trouble, using it. So that's going to be a 9 out of 10. And then memory, also, or RAM, call it what you want. The maximum amount of RAM for Windows 98 is 1 gigabyte, which is nothing. I mean, sure, the 32-bit edition of Windows 10 can run on 1 gigabyte of RAM, but you can't get anything done with that. So that's a 2 out of 10. And then stability. Windows 98 is a pretty stable operating system. I mean, sure, could be very slow at times, but it never crashed, which is great. So I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. Alright, so based on my ratings for each category, that means Windows 98 has an overall score of 4.1 out of 10. Which means that, in theory, 41% of the operating system's usable today. I think that number is a bit high. That's just me, though, but Simply put, Windows 98 is not too usable today. I mean, you can do some stuff with it, like you can like watch videos if it's not an MP4. You can play music. You can use Office with the exception of Outlook, but you can't use internet. You can barely use it. And internet's probably the most important aspect of a computer today. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe, because if you do, then you'll see more videos like this. This is Dylan signing off. Have a good one.